Please, take a seat. So, Monique, before we get started,
Okay.
I want to talk about the informed consent form that you previously saw.
Okay.
In that informed consent form, there's a topic I want to talk about, and that's confidentiality. So with confidentiality, I hope you know that whatever's shared in this room stays between you and I. There are certain instances where I would have to breach that confidentiality, and that's what I want to go over. So if you know of any abuse or neglect to a child or an elderly adult or a vulnerable person, I would need to breach confidentiality, as well as if you know or you have any intent of spreading any communicable disease, such as AIDS or HIV, if you have any intent of causing harm to someone else or harm to yourself, and if, of course, if I'm court ordered, I would have to release that information.
Okay.
Other than that, everything between us stays confidential. So, with that said, do you have any questions?
No, I think you clarified it for me.
Okay. So, what brings you here today?
I guess it would be issues with my family.
Okay. So, issues with your family. What do you mean by that?
So I've been in this year and a half relationship with my boyfriend Clayton, and I don't think they approve of it.
Okay, so your family does not approve of your relationship with Clayton.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think it's because Clayton is white.
Because he's white.
Yeah.
And what does it mean then for your family that Clayton is white?
For them, they think that, I don't know, I guess I'm too good for a black man, or what's wrong with me dating a black man.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is that your family expects or believes you probably to be dating a black male or a black man.
Yeah, I think they would prefer it.
They would prefer it?
Yeah. They prefer it, but I don't think they get the fact that, like, I actually really I love Clayton and that I want to be with him. They're just worried about the outside. They don't care to know him. They don't try to get to know him. They just see what he is on the outside, and that's it.
I'm hearing that, you know, you love Clayton, so I'm wondering if do they know Clayton? Because you're saying if they knew who Clayton was, then they might have a different opinion.
They would, but the thing is, they don't try to get to know him. And there's been multiple instances where, like, we go to a family event, he comes with me, and they just kind of sit and ignore him, ignore us. They just don't care. And if it's conversation, it's like hi and bye.
Hi and bye.
Yeah. Oh, hello, and just keep it moving. And it's just like they don't want to know him.
And is this everyone in your family, or is there one person in particular which maybe you can think of?
It's not everyone in my family. My mom and dad are really good about it. They don't care. They really don't. They're kind of like, as long as you are happy, that's all I want for you.
Okay.
And that's great. It's my mom's sister, my aunt, in particular, who just I would call her the instigator.
Okay.
Of it all. All my other cousins and uncles and all that feed off of her. Her, like, negative energy. She just always making rude comments and, like, trying to make me not part of the family almost.
So this exclusion from your aunt, how often does it happen? You said this happens at family events, but how often are these family events?
Well, I mean, they're pretty often. Maybe once a month, depending on, like, somebody has a birthday. Like a church event, like Easter, some holiday, you just get together with your family.
Right.
So I would say at least once a month, and that's enough for me to just be done with it, just all together. And we just moved in together. and I think that has escalated the situation.
I'm curious to know, does Clayton know about, I'm sure he may have an idea of the tension that's going on between your family.
You would think. I think he kind of ignores it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very, like, cool, complex guy. He kind of just rolls with the punches. So he's kind of like my parents is like, why does it matter? If I love you, then we're together, then that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters. And I think, what a great statement, probably like the best answer you can give somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. To me, I think it should be more of an issue to him, thinking about like the future, what this tension in our family could mean for our future.
Right. And so, this future, you just moved in together. Right now, how would you see it? If you were to, let's say, continue to be together, how do you think the family dynamic would go?
I think it could only get worse at the moment, and that sounds kind of bad. As long as my aunt, I allow my aunt, I think, to cause tension, and I don't know why I said that, like the allow, but I mean, I just don't stop her. I just kind of ignore it. I don't say anything. I probably should. I just don't.
So I'm wondering, you said that your mom and dad, they're approving towards your relationship, but your aunt is not. How does that relationship between them go if there's that sort of differing opinions?
It's like a rock and a hard place. They're just constantly at each other's necks. Not all the time, but like at family events when you get together. My mom's like, leave my child alone, and my aunt's like, I'm gonna say how I feel whenever I feel like it. And I feel bad because they're sisters. You don't want to come between sisters. But in the same instance, I'm not gonna change who I am for her. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that maybe you've already tried to speak to your aunt about this?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say try. I don't, like I said earlier, I kind of ignore it. I just roll with the punches and ignore it. And I'm always afraid that if I say something, it's going to just get worse and not better. I don't think I know how to start that conversation. And when, because I only see her during family events, and I don't think it'd be appropriate.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, were you not to be in a relationship with Clayton, who is a white man, would this tension be, would it exist? Would it still exist?
It probably is still going to exist. Like, even if me and Clayton break up, it probably will still exist because of what it is now. But for example, if Clayton was black, there would be no tension. She had no issue with my previous boyfriends who were black or Latino, none of that. I think it's specifically because he's white.
And so what comments would your aunt make?
So, like, when we go to events, she'll be like, oh, you're still with him? Just, like, little, like, sly stuff. And you just kind of, like, let it roll off your skin.
I see. The option of not attending a family event, what do you think of that?
That's a good question. I think it probably like my mom and dad said, if I'm not there, and I do have, like, there are still cousins and stuff I want to see. That I think that's why I kind of put up with it, because some people I really want to see are there, and just because they're gonna be mean to me doesn't make me not want to go. It's just kind of like, but I do think about not going with Clayton sometimes, but I kind of want him there with me regardless.
And does the tension increase when Clayton is at these events?
No, it's the same. I think it might increase when he's not there, because they're more open to say stuff when he's not around.
Right. I want to go back to, you said that your aunt was, I guess, the main instigator.
Yes.
But your family also kind of picks up on that.
Yeah.
So can you give me examples of other instances or other family members that might kind of go along with that?
So my cousin, her daughter, who I'm not particularly fond of, you know, it's like we're always in constant competition. She feeds off of it, so her mom will say something dumb like, are you still with that boy, and you so much better off with a black man, da da da, and she'll make sly comments like about my skin tone, like, well, she's already light, so she's close enough to white anyway. Just like they feed off of it, and it's like, okay.
And why do you think that these two members of your family, they say that?
I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think it's jealousy, like pure jealousy. My aunt is upset because, you know, I'm successful and her daughter's not as successful as me, and she thinks I think I'm better than everybody, type of thing.
And you say success, and what do you mean by success?
Like, for example, I have a master's degree, and her daughter never went to college, which is, you know, one of those things where it's like it's nobody's fault but her daughter's fault. That's nothing I can do about it. So, and again, like I said, we're always in constant competition, me and her, ever since we were little. We're like a year apart.
Is there any other family member that might be kind of on the side of your aunt with this tension?
I have some other cousins, but they're like kind of distant, and they kind of just roll. I'm not saying on my side of my aunt, they just make jokes about it, and they probably don't do it with the intent to like hurt me. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it's kind of annoying.
Does your aunt and I guess her daughter, do they know the extent to how much pain this causes you, or how much distress?
And I don't even think it's not even me telling them. It's my mom telling them how I feel like you leave her alone. Like it's not good. She doesn't like that. My mom can like see it on my face that I don't like it. But it's never me. I'm not confrontational. I just rather just eat it.
And Clayton isn't the confrontational type either.
No, yeah, we're both kind of very like mild.
But the problem is there.
Yeah.
Well, I think I see what we have a few minutes left.
Okay.
So to summarize, I think I can see that the major distress here is the tension that's being caused mainly by your aunt and your daughter about you dating Clayton.
And her daughter.
And her daughter, sorry. And about you dating Clayton.
Yes.
And because he's a white male. So the tension grows when you attend these family events.
Yes.
So is there any information that I might have missed that might be important?
To be honest, I think that's like the gist of it. That's kind of like the meat.
Okay.
I mean, there's like little details, but I don't really think it's important. Just the meat of it.
Okay. So I guess for next session, we can continue up upon that.
Okay.
And we can start to discuss more on that and see where we go from there. Does that sound fine?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Monique?
Are you gonna end it?